Hello folks, Typhoon Carter here, and I bring to you in our DPP Revival Invitational series. This is a round 6 winners bracket matchup between Void and former Orlando Magic legend Gilbert Arenas. No, I'm kidding guys, it's Marco Polo. Nope, I'm just kidding again. It is Marcop. This is like top 8 we're talking about here, and for both these players, since they're in winners bracket, whoever wins here is going to be at worst guaranteed top 3 money, so like a podium finish more or less if they win this series here, and could not ask for a better pairing between Void, who is probably a top 3 DPP player of all time, up there with like somebody like Tamahome or like BKC or Panamaxis. Like he's in that conversation. And then you have Marcop, who is a fantastic player in his own right, and actually made, he's gotten pretty deep in invitationals before. I believe he made finals of Callus Invitational 6 for ADV a couple years ago. So he's been there before, and they're both in, for both of them this is like light work, But either way, fantastic pairing, and enough of me monologuing. Like this is top 8. All right, let's jump right into this. Gira lead, Suicune lead. So interesting lead matchup here between Void and Marcop. So Void with the Gira lead. So this is either like CB Gira, or this is like a DD Gira. Whereas for Marco, this is probably like special offense with like lead modest Lum Suicune, which is something that I believe Xcal innovated a couple years ago, and like have a hallmark of special offense and a fantastic stall breaker, because the idea is that you Leo Suicune and then like you see him up, like if you get really favorable matchups such as what he has here against the Gyarados, because the Gyarados has to respect Hidden Power Electric. But the thing with this is that Suicune has a couple ways it can actually has a couple moveset variations on lead. For example, if you're like going the French route, like what Suicune did like a couple years ago with like a team that I think he built for Skyrio with like like Lum Suicune, could be like CM Hydro Ice Beam with Protect, for example, to cover the Azelf lead with Boom. Could also be Sub Suicune. That's another route that Marco can go. So, but either way, for Void, it'd be extremely risky to stay in, because he could lose significant health on his Gyarados for nothing. Anyways, so CM's up here, and oh, it's T-Wave Gira, so this might be a defensive Gyarados, and there's the Lumberry. And Void's just gonna T-Wave again, with zero care in the world. So Ice Beam's here, so no Hidden Power Electric shown, so that's either a very disciplined click from Marco, or his Suicune might genuinely just not have the move to take care of this. And so Void's gonna lose to Celebi pretty early on, but sends out the Magnezone, which will at least do significant damage to Suicune at +2. And really you see how Suicune on lead can be extremely threatening for these very bulky teams that like the one that Void is running here, because this is T-Wave Gyarados, this means a couple things. One, the Gyarados probably doesn't have Roar. 2, because he showed Rock Celebi, this is very much this looks like a Ladon style team, or like a Ladon Osgood style team, with something like what looks to be Scarf Magnezone. And assuming this is what I think this is, there's probably also a Donphan in the back here, because that covers your Zapdos matchup really nicely and gives you like a secondary electric check of sorts, and lets you spin so that Gyarados can do Gyarados things, especially defensive Gyara. And then usually I think the last slot on this team is something like Jirachee. So that's what we have going here. And this Celebi may or may not have had a baton pass, but we don't know for sure. And you really see how this, Suicune full parrot, so Marcop just missing out on the chance to get another KO with the Suicune, but still got decent value out of it. Instead, the Latias is going to be a follow-up here. And that looks to be a Scarf Lati on Marcop's end. And oh, the last is Scizor, which actually works as well, because it gives you a secondary win condition. And D-Pulse is here. So, oh, okay, that's interesting. I mean, okay. Sorry, I'm like just trying to break this down real quick. Because like, there's a lot to unpack here. So, Magnezone with Scarf is historically slow. Like, if you're running Timid Magnezone, it doesn't even outspeed Starmie. It hits 360. But if you're doing Modest Zone, because it actually did do decent damage to a +2 Suicune, which presumably had a little bit of bulk investment, assuming Marcop only creeped up for Jolly Breloom. So this is something, and then you have this really nice Scizor as a win condition, like bulky Scizor with SD. And then the other option, if there's not a Donphan in the back, the other option I could think of that Void might have is Latias. If this is like a team with 2 primary win conditions, and then you have something like the Magnezone to enable it, like assuming this is like bulky CM Lati, and then you have something like T-Tar to be the Pursuiter, and then because assuming the T-Tar is actually the Pursuiter like it should be, and it's probably Scarf T-Tar for that matter, this means that the Scizor can actually run, has a couple move slot options freed up, like Bullet Punch plus Bug Bite or Bullet Punch plus Superpower, for example. But let's keep going here. And Jirachee's gonna be sent out, got threatened a Fire Punch, and yeah, the last is in fact Donphan, like I was speculating earlier. I got the steal wrong. And then Rotom's going to probably try. Okay, so Marco trying to like go for the outplay here, and got pivot to Scizor, and this is like especially defensive Scizor, so it's going to eat this Hydro Pump up pretty easily. And it's gonna be forced to roost up here, and Marco's going to bring the Jirachee in, try to put some pressure on, but you really see how this Donphan is just keeping things at bay. And then the Rapid Spin here, that's, I mean, it's gonna get trapped by Magnezone anyways, which is gonna be a bit of a problem, and I don't know about that, but Void probably wants to keep the Magnezone so that he can still get rid of the Skarmory later on, so I think that's what Void has that in mind. And then knock off there, so Donphan knockoff, it's okay, so it's Ice Shardless Donphan, which is actually on this kind of team, I think it's like a valid choice. Even though, well, actually no, Fire Punch is there, but this Gyarados is probably Rest Talk, so that's not gonna matter as much. And it's just got a T-Wave. Like, you really see how a defensive Gyarados can be extremely annoying sometimes. And some teams, like some offenses, are actually just not well equipped to actually handle this at all, and the Latias gonna get trapped. And this game is really just the power of T-Wave and really the power of like Donphan, to say the least. And huge knockoff there. That means that the Rotom won't be able to trick anything anymore. And then Void's just gonna protect here. He's gonna be able to rack up chip damage pretty safely, and then Scizor is almost always a safe switch. And oh, okay, did not get credit there. That would have been really unfortunate. Roos is up here, and Donphan's gonna be sent back out, and Marco can't really do anything to stop this anymore. Spins here. As for Marco's last here, I think it's probably like something like a DD Tar could work as the last here. Not DD Gyarados, but yeah, I think DD Tar works nicely here. Could also be something like a Breloom for example. Although I don't think it's a Breloom, because if it was a Breloom, Marco should have sent it out by now. But yeah, like if he hasn't found a reason to send it out, that's my only guess right now. We'll find out if I'm right or not later on. Anyway, so Zone's gonna be doubled in on this Jirachee, and obviously he's gonna swap out, doesn't want to give up the Zone just yet because he wants to make sure Skarmory's out of the picture. That's really the key thing here he's looking for. And then you really see how, like, because we're like very deep into a money tour and both players have actual chances of walking out with money, it's like you can kind of really see that they're bringing that, like, you know, Void's bringing out his signature, like, you know, very sturdy Osgood teams, and like just playing it real conservative. And then Marco now can actually, well, this Gyarados, oh okay, does not get flinch haxed, but you really see how Gyara's just kind of sitting on this, and then if he rolls a T-Wave, that would probably be the best outcome for Void. But yeah, for Marco, I think this is just kind of, yeah, this is like a bulky offense that I think just fails to put enough pressure into something like, you know, defensive Gyarados. And defensive Gyarados is a bit of a forgotten monster sometimes, because everybody, when you think of Gyra or Gyro, you think of like DD and, you know, Lavos getting flinched to death, but yeah, like you really see how like Intimidate just makes it even harder to kill, because like Gyarados is like, you know, very bulky for an offensive poke, and it has like a workable special defense stat. But I think the problem with Void's team here is that because you're what I assume is Ice Shardless Donphan, then something like Mixed Flagon can be extremely problematic. But even then, it's like, or really Mixed D-Knight specifically, I think is like probably the big one that I'd be concerned about. But he didn't roll into that matchup. But even something like Mixgon, it's like typical Mixgon teams, it's like, you know, like you have Donphan, which can at least like put some, which can actually spin hazards away, which Mixgon relies heavily on, for example. And then Rotom's gonna be brought in here. And Rotom's on its last legs too. And yeah, the last is Tyranitar, there is no question about that. And so this is probably gonna bullet punch here. Try to like force some damage, and yeah, I gotta get Ferret punched in return. But the problem is that you can't really break past Donphan. And you really see how Donphan really helps add an extra layer of security for this team, as Void's gonna take this game 1 pretty handily. And yeah, because like something like Gira is pressured by rocks, but then you have Donphan acting as a secondary physical wall that could, like, you know, spin hazards away. And then you have something like T-Tar that can like check special threats, and then Scizor acting. Yeah, so you really see how the team that Void has here is kind of like a really, it's really rounded out nicely, like from a defensive standpoint. And then you have, and then something like Gira, like even without attack investment, is already naturally threatening with something like T-Wave plus Waterfall. Or something like Roar works better on like more spike stack centric teams, but you see a power T-Wave here where it's like Marco's team just has no way to stop status, and that's generally kind of the problem that offensive teams in DPP face sometimes, where like you just, where you have to load up on stuff like Lumberry or like Taunt, you have to really go out your way to prevent status from just, or like status spam in general, from just overrunning you. And this was just a classic case where Marco's team unfortunately just was not able to put enough offensive pressure, and then something like Protect makes stuff like Rotom effectively useless as well. Anyways, we'll go into game 2. Here we have game 2. Infernape lead, Tyranitar lead. This is so Infernape Bleed. Typically, you think when you see Infernape Bleed, you're probably thinking of Choice Band, or you're thinking of Fake Out Rocks. Whereas Void, if he's bringing out Tyranitar Lead, this tells me that this Tyranitar is either Choice Scarf or it is something like, you know, like bulky T-Tar with Stealth Rocks, Protect, Crunch, EQ, for example, or like there's a bunch of variations you could do with this. But Gliscor's gonna be revealed, so Void bring out his signature fat stuff, and then oh, this is that BKC team, I think. Is probably what Marco's bringing out here with Will-O-Wisp, which is actually a really nice touch because it lets you, and then denying Stealth Rocks on Gliscor. If this is the BKC team that I'm thinking of, then there's probably a Kingdra in the back as well. So this is gonna be revealed here, and it's gonna be able to, oh, it gets Fire Fanged on the way out, and but because of Gliscor's Wisp, that means that this is, that he can actually take a hit. But Gyara's gonna be sent out here. It's probably scouting for Thunderfang as well, but a Quagsire, but gotta be met with a Quagsire instead. And this team is probably rounded out by something like Jirachee, like Restock Jirachee, to deal with Breloom. And then so those are just SDing up here, and Haze is a nice option in Quag because it lets you stop setup and last Pokemon situations. And he's got SD up again, and the Skarmory's going to get spikes up, and okay, this is like one of those PDC style Donphan offenses, and Crest is gonna be sent out here. So this Crest, probably Lunar Dance with a T-Wave Ice Beam, and then a last move choice of either something like G-Knot, for example, or Psychic. Like, there's a couple options you could do here with Crest, but yeah, Void's team very much stall. The last piece here, I mean, Crest works as an alternative fight resist to some degree, and then again, I expect Void's last to either be something like a Bronzong or something like a, like if it's a Bronzong to like complete like the Superman style-esque stall, or Restock Jirachee, although like he does have Fire Fang Gliscor, which can act as a soft check normally, but you still want like an actual check to something like fighters, namely Breloom, because something like Infernape on paper could be really bad for this team. Latias is another option too, but let's keep going. I gotta swap out here into the Infernape, gotta eat an Ice Beam, but this Infernape has no attack moves, but can opt to taunt instead. No T-Wave there, and oh right, the last is Clefable, that makes sense. Okay, I totally forgot about that because yeah, so like you got this like pseudo Superman-esque structure here, but Infernape looks immensely threatening because or normally anyways, like if it's like Grass Knot Infernape, for example, normally that would like just stomp the crap out of this team, but instead Marco opted to just go for the BKC route as far as Infernape sets go. Go Rapid Spin here, and Infernape's gonna be sent out, going to get T-Waved, a nice T-Wave on Void's end, but the Infernape is on its last legs. And Infernape's going to get one last U-turn here, going to get the Tyranitar in, and it's gonna threaten a big old Crunch. And Void's naturally going to have to switch out. Crunch is here, just gonna Crunch again, probably try to force the Skarmory to roost up. And oh man, if this is okay, Spike's here, and then I think Marco's last is probably like Healing Wish Lati. That's probably what I think he has in the back, like just so that he can like give something like Gyarados a second breath of fresh air. Crest gonna be pivoted out. Go Rapid Spin here. Again, like the Crest is very passive in general, and that's a reason why it's not used as much. Instead we see Rest here, so it's probably Rest Talk Crest, which is like pretty cool. And Marco's just got Pursuit here, going to bank on the Crest getting a bad roll or not having Sleep Talk. Void, if you have Sleep Talk, you better show it now. Nope, looks like he does not, and the Crest is going to get trapped successfully. So Marco in the driver's seat here, and really see on Void's end, this is kind of the issue that like these kind of teams have, is that sometimes you just lack a true win condition. Although, and then like, you know, I think this team could benefit from something like a CM Clef if he can afford. Actually, no, he wouldn't have a good special check otherwise. Think about it on second bot. Also, sorry, it's like 2 AM for me, so give me cut me some slack here. Anyways, Tyrant's gonna be pivoted in, and Clef can safely scout this, but you really see the mileage that Infernape got the lead slot, where the Gliscor can no longer actually check Tyranitar properly, and then Quagsire is just way too passive. And just got Superpower again, and the Gliscor is going to go down. And Donphan, however, the problem now is that Donphan can just kind of come in and just spin all day. Not a joke, like not hyperbole, I should say. And Donphan's got a shard there. And Gyara's gonna be pivoted out here. Gonna get knocked. I wonder what got knocked here. I think it might have been a Lumberry? Jeez. Oh jeez, okay. Yep, no, okay, gets a flinch. Void might be forced to protect here, and Gara is going to Waterfall again. Gets a Wish off though. And Tyranitar's going to be pivoted back out, going to take advantage of the protect. Got friend that's Superpower out. Superpower just looks like a very safe mid ground right now, except for Scarm. Does decent chunks of damage to everything else. And oh, that's a Spit Def Quagsire into a CB Tar, I think. However, Skarmy's going to summon the Scizor pretty comfortably. Go Roost up here and just gonna get you turned on. Into Tyranitar. Tyranitar's got friend as Superpower or Stone Edge. Stone Edge misses though. And going to have to switch in to on this Ice Beam from Quagsire with the Scizor, but could just U-turn out again. SD's up here. Spikes go up. Probably gonna go into Donphan. And then Donphan's probably gonna spin this away. And then if you're Void, you could probably try to get some chip damage with Brave Bird. 22% is like modest chip damage, to say at least. Not the nature, but you know. Roost up here, gonna be full. Gonna get Stone Edge and is on the verge of being 2-hit KO'd. It's forced to swap into Quagsire, but now this means that something like Scizor, something like Gyarados could actually KO it, and go avoid the EQ here. And great pivot back into Scizor, taking advantage of the Intimidate, and just go U-turn here, trying to catch the Skarmory so that you can put some pressure on. But one thing to note here though is Skarm can't switch in anymore because of the fact that one, like it's gonna take like 23-ish% give or take, and then it won't be able, and then because the Tyranitar is faster, it's like probably fast CB Tar. This means that the Skarmory also can't really roost up safely either. So really you see Tyranitar putting in overtime, gets the crunch defense drop he's been looking for, and the only switch is, well, his own Tyranitar. And Tyranitar's gonna get a defense drop into his Gyarados. Gonna Stealth Rock up here. if Gira gets a DD off here, it looks so good. If Marco has a Laddie in the back... Oh! Seed Bomb. Great lore there. Seed Bomb, a bit of a forgotten option on Donphan. The really nice thing about Seed Bomb on Donphan is that oftentimes it's really helpful for opposing Donphan, and the other thing to take into consideration for why you might slot in Seed Bomb is simply because of the fact that it also helps for the Donphan mirror match, especially if you're not running Knock, because sometimes the Donphan mirror can get really awkward. But the other thing with Seed Bomb is that also allows Donphan to spin on Swampert safely. So that's just something to take into consideration. And yeah, this was a fantastic patience by Marco to like hold on to the Seed Bomb, and then before finally finding his opportunity to use it on Quagsire. And it's gonna be a huge KO here, and Gyarados gonna be sacrificed to hazards, because you don't want to let Donphan lose its lefties, especially with Skarm still at large. Superpower here is actually pretty free because it's going to just KO whatever comes in. And Void, knowing this, is going to sacrifice the T-Tar and then hope that the Skarmory can actually... no, but I'm going to swap out here. Gotta get the Wish off. And Skarmory's gonna be healed back up to full, so good stuff by Void being able to find that window, but last Pokemon Scizor could obviously pull it out. Good Brave Bird here, and just going to get the Rapid Spin off. So Void, knowing that the Donphan can spin on it all day, and Latias gonna be brought in here, probably going to be able to get a Healing Wish off into whatever comes in, if he so desires, but going to get the T-Wave off on Clefable instead, which means that Donphan actually outspeeds it now. So that is something to take into consideration. And Clef's going to Wish up here, going to do huge damage with that U-turn. Knocks off the Lumberry. Oh, okay. But either way, I think this is still... Oh, it's probably Draco Surf, and then last with Healing Wish. That's what I assume Marcop's end is. And yep, there's the Healing Wish. I'm going to heal up the T-Tar. The full. T-Tar's got one superpower left. And going to nail the Stone Edge on Skarmory. And Void's just going to forfeit. And Marco's gonna tie it up. So again, both players have a chance at guaranteeing a money finish, to say the least. Anyways, we're gonna go into game 3 here. Money on the line. Rotom, Jirachee, going to trick turn 1 here. Oh, huge Will-O-Wisp miss there. Will-O-Wisp misses twice. That's gotta be frustrating if you're Void. Finally going to land a Will-O-Wisp, but it's going to be on the Starmie, which is like, you know, an okay outcome. Is he going to stay in again? Okay, no, goes into Clef. And goes in Swampert. Going to eat up this superpower, and that's a tank per, or into a Scarf Tar. 6 turns in, 3 Pokemon revealed on both sides. Marco with the Scarf Jirachee lead, and then, you know, you got Starmie, and then you got Tyranitar. Oh, this is probably like a Zap Me Loom Trans structure from Marcop if he's just playing it by the book. Whereas for Void, it's probably a bulky offense, and lead Rotom, the nice thing lead Rotom on stall teams is that it really gives you a way to actually handle something like an Azelf or Arrow or Skarm lead, because those can be really annoying for traditional stall structures that, you know, rely on something like a Powdon and whatnot. But Swampert will be sent in here. It's probably indicating a BO. You rarely see Pert on these kind of teams. Gotta get rocks up, but Starmie will spin it away, but gotta protect here. And oh, that might be a spec star. We'll find out soon. Oh no, this might be Colbur, I think. I think that's what's going on here. Yeah, it's probably Colbur Starmie, which is nice for getting a favorable trade against Pursuit Scizor. For example, that's why you might want to use it, and lets you survive like a T-Tar suit. Oh, Grass Knot's there, which is actually a good way to punish something like Swampert, because traditionally Swampert can 1v1 Starmie, or at least fish for crit opportunities normally against like Monomi, for example, but this is not your average Starmie, as you can tell. And Tyranitar is going to be pivoted out, so some good maneuvering from Marco here. Being able to put his Tyranitar in a position to, you know, make some progress against the stall team that Void's bringing out. I mean, you got the Scarm, the last here, probably a second steal. I'd say Jirachee if I'm a betting man, but could also be something like Scizor, or like, you know, for example, because something like Gengar would be a really huge problem otherwise. Get it spikes up again, and man, like, it's got multiple defense drops, and this is how you know it's not CBTAR. And oh, great patience there from Marco, being able to lure Void into a false sense of security, and he's just gonna lose his Scarm to Fire Blast. So a very disciplined play from Marco to hold that Fire Blast and just gotta keep crunching here, and is comfortable trading down this T-Tar against this Swampert. And this Tank Pert will probably be able to eat one more crunch safely and then KO it on the way out. And Swampert's gonna be at 41%. And now the D-Knight's gonna be sent in, and this D-Knight can be extremely threatening in the right circumstances. But Void, suspecting something's up here, suspects Lum is just going to, you know, wear this down with T-Bolt. And Magneton's the last here, which actually makes sense now that I think about it, because something like opposing Scarm would be a pain in the neck for this team, especially for Swampert, which does not love seeing Scarm. And then, oh, he said he misclicked the Void saying in game chat that he misclicked the Latias, which, oh, okay, yeah, that explains. Oh, okay, I see what happened here. So on turn 29, if you go back 2 turns prior, this was a misclick, which after the Rotom went down, he was supposed to go into Magneton. So the Latias taking unnecessary rock damage, and the Magneton especially taking significant chip damage, means that Void's in a really terrible spot. Especially because D-Knight is locked into Outrage. And then now he lost to Magneton for effectively just one Pokemon. And got like pretty terrible, or sorry, iffy value out of it. And the Magor's gonna try a trick. This could be Trick Iron Ball, we don't know. No, it's Trick Choice Scarf, which is actually a really cool option on meta. Scarf meta is kind of a forgotten beast sometimes, because like it's like a Scarf Steel that can, you know, do this, like explode, huge explosion on the Latias, and Bronzong is going to be sent out here. This is probably offensive Trick Room Bronzong, or OTR Zong, as people would like to call it, and then with like Macho Brace and all that jazz. But Marco just comfortable just like EQing this thing down, because he knows that the Swampert can't really take a hit, and just got EQ again. And if he just gets, I mean, I just keep EQing if I'm Marco. And yeah, go heal up here. I would just explode, because if Void gets the over attack, then you can just Grass Knot with the Starmie and win that way. Oh wait, actually, Starmie is a bit low, so gotta be careful with that. And just finally gets the explosion, and Marco's going to win this series 2-1, and he will guarantee himself at minimum a money finish. So congratulations to Marco, as he inches closer and closer to potentially winning this whole thing. Wood will be sent down to losers. He is still in the running. I do not think he'll go down easily. That being said though, if you guys enjoyed these videos, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.